She was only 15, a bright, curious teenager with a smile that lit up the narrow streets of Ferrara, Italy. Her notebooks were filled with sketches of pyramids, hieroglyphs, and the names of kings long buried beneath the sands of Egypt. But behind her fascination lay something haunting. Rosana Carmelini told her family she could hear voices at night. Ancient voices, the whispers of pharaohs calling her by name. Her mother thought it was imagination. Her friends thought it was just teenage fantasy. But Rosana believed every word. On the last day anyone saw her, she clutched her diary to her chest and whispered to her best friend, "They say I have to go. They won't let me refuse this time." Hours later, she vanished. And what investigators uncovered in the days that followed, blood in a crypt, ritual symbols on the walls, and a trusted professor with secrets of his own, would leave an entire town haunted and a family searching for answers they may never find. This is the haunting story of Rosana Carmelini, the girl who spoke to pharaohs and vanished. Rosana was born on March 2, 1983 in Ferrara, a small city in northern Italy known for its Renaissance palaces and winding medieval streets. Her parents, Marco and Elena, described her as a child with a mind older than her years. From a young age, she had an almost magnetic fascination with history. While other children watched cartoons, Rosana spent afternoons at the library flipping through thick books on ancient civilizations. Egypt was her favorite. By age 12, she could recite the names of pharaohs in order, from Narmer to Ramses II. Teachers were impressed, but they also noticed something unusual. Rosana didn't just study history, she lived it. Her diary, found years later, contained entries like, "I heard them again last night. They called me daughter. They said I belonged to the Nile." In 1997, Rosana joined a local youth archaeology club run by Professor Aldo Verani, a 42-year-old historian with a reputation for eccentric lectures on Egypt. Students admired his passion, but parents whispered that he was too interested in young minds. Verani noticed Rosana immediately. Her obsession with Egypt mirrored his own, but with an intensity he rarely saw in teenagers. He encouraged her, lent her books, and invited her to private study sessions at the university archives. Rosana's parents, trusting the professor's reputation, allowed it. "She is safe with him," her mother said. But not everyone agreed. A fellow student later recalled, "He looked at Rosana differently, like she was more than a pupil, like she was chosen." In late 1997, Rosana began to change. She stayed out late, she withdrew from friends, and she spoke constantly of initiations and secrets the living aren't meant to know. Her best friend Sylvia confronted her. "Rosana, you're scaring me." "What's going on?" Rosana whispered. "Professor Verani says I have the gift. The pharaohs are using me to speak again." Sylvia told her to stop, but Rosana shook her head. "You don't understand. If I don't listen, they'll punish me." It was the first clear sign that Rosana was trapped in something beyond her control. On January 15, 1998, Rosana left home at 4:30 p.m. She told her parents she was going to the library. She never arrived. By 9 p.m., her parents called police. Witnesses reported seeing Rosana near the old monastery on Via delle Volte, a crumbling 15th century building where Verani often held private lectures. Inside her bedroom, investigators found her diary, open to a chilling entry from the night before. "Tomorrow is the crossing. They say I will be tested by fire. If I fail, I cannot return." Police searched the monastery. At first glance, it was empty, but deeper inside, in the crypt, they found candles, incense, and chalk drawings of Egyptian symbols across the stone floor. In the center was a single sandal, Rosana's. The scene suggested ritual, but where was the girl? Forensic teams detected traces of blood on the stone altar. DNA testing later confirmed it was Rosana's, but no body was ever found. Professor Verani quickly became the prime suspect. He denied everything. "I am a teacher." Nothing more. Rosana was obsessed with Egypt on her own. "I never harmed her," but investigators uncovered unsettling details. Verani kept dozens of letters Rosana had written him. They weren't assignments. They were confessions. In one, she wrote, "You said I must give myself to the pharaohs. I am ready. Please don't leave me behind." Police also found videotapes in his apartment, recordings of secret gatherings in the monastery, students in robes, chants in broken Egyptian, and Rosana at the center, trembling as Verani proclaimed her the chosen vessel. Further digging revealed that Verani had been investigated years earlier for inappropriate contact with students. The case was dropped due to lack of evidence. Witnesses now came forward. One former pupil recalled, "He told us Egypt wasn't just history, it was power. He said some people could channel the pharaohs, and Rosana was one of them." Others admitted they were pressured into rituals involving blood pricking, chanting, and late-night gatherings. The police theory was grim. Verani lured Rosana into a psychological trap, convincing her she was destined to serve as a vessel. And on January 15, 1998, the rituals went too far. In 1999, Professor Aldo Verani was charged with murder, though no body had ever been recovered. Prosecutors relied on forensic evidence, the blood traces, the letters, and testimony from other students. The trial captivated Italy. Tabloids called it the Pharaoh Cult Case. The defense argued there was no proof Rosana was dead. They suggested she had run away, consumed by her own obsession. "A troubled girl chasing fantasy," Verani's lawyer said, but the jury didn't believe it. After 6 weeks, they delivered their verdict, guilty of voluntary manslaughter and abuse of minors. Verani was sentenced to 30 years in prison. Still, one thing haunted the court: Rosana's body was never found. For Rosana's parents, the conviction was hollow. Her mother told reporters, "Without her body, I can't light a candle on her grave. I can't say goodbye." Rosana's case sparked national debate in Italy about safeguarding children in educational settings. New laws were introduced requiring stricter background checks for educators and youth program leaders. Advocacy groups used her story as a warning that obsession can be weaponized and charisma can hide danger. More than 2 decades later, Rosana Carmelini's disappearance still haunts Ferrara. Some locals whisper she ran away, still alive somewhere, living under another name. Others believe her body lies buried beneath the monastery ruins, never recovered. But her words, written in that diary, linger. They said, "I belong to the Nile," a 15-year-old girl, brilliant, curious, fragile, convinced she could hear pharaohs, and led to her death by a man who twisted her gift into his obsession. Her story is a reminder that victims are not just names in headlines. They are daughters, sisters, friends, and their voices, even when silenced, deserve to be heard. If Rosana's story moved you, please consider sharing your thoughts in the comments. What do you believe happened that night in Ferrara? Was it ritual, manipulation, or something we still can't explain? Like this video if you believe her voice deserves to be remembered. Subscribe to Evidence Uncovered for more true crime documentaries where the victims' stories remain at the heart of the narrative, because remembering them is how we honor them.